And you can do that in, there's a few steps here, but you can do that in Bloomberg. Get into the Bloomberg machine and you type SWPM. That's the swap manager. So part of this is to get you some exposure to the swap manager. And so what do you want? Well, about the longest duration longest maturity you can go out is 30 years. So you can see how here's the starting date and this is the maturity. So what's 30 years from 2016? 2046, right? Now what interest rate do you use? Well, real simple. You go to Google. Well, it's simple, except for unless you're on a UTSA machine. Let's see. You go to Google, type in age 15. You click on that Federal Reserve site. You go down to the bottom. You see your swaps. What's the current interest rate on a 30-year swap? It's 216. It's right there. All right. So on the swap, what do you type in for your coupon? 216. How easy is that? And now you got your swap. What's the duration of your swap? The duration of your swap is 22.67 years. If you net out the short term, it's 22.16. Okay. Now, if you want to test that with this spreadsheet, you can do a 30-year with 216. You can see that with this spreadsheet, you get 21.99. Pretty close, right? 2216 and 2199. So it's going to get you a really close answer. All right. So you could use this if you'd like, just to make sure you're getting a good analysis. So you can build it in here, but I encourage you to go out here and look at this. And you can run scenarios. I'll show you how to run scenarios. If you click on this button, the risk button, that's what shows you what your duration is. What did I just do? I did something wrong. So, whoa, 2046. I don't know what I did wrong. There's something. Okay, if it ever messes up, this is what you do. You type, well, you wait for it to take forever. Type SWPM again and just start over from scratch. I hit some button somewhere in there and it really messed it up, and boy, now it's really messed up. So let's go here, SWPM. So 2046, 2.16. Click on the risk button, and it shows you what your duration is. It should be really close. I mean, it really is. Swaps are so easy. It's just, if you do a 30-year where you receive fixed and play floating, it's almost exactly like buying a 30-year bond. It really is. So you put that. You see how close they are. I mean, it's just right in line. And then you can actually run scenarios. So let's try a scenario. So you just bring up the scenario button and hit calculate. And you say, what would happen if interest rates were to fall 150 basis points? And you just hit calculate. And it says you would have a $4.1 million gain. I can come over here and say, what happens if interest rates fall 1.5%? And you have about a 407 gain. It's going to be really similar. So you can see how you can use this spreadsheet to do a lot of your analysis on the swap. All you have to figure out is what your notional amount on the swap is. And that's where you put the amount in the principal. So you start off with whatever your interest rate on the swap is, make that your coupon and your yield. That's your notional amount on that. And then as you change interest rates, you can just do the coupon minus 150 basis points, and then it's going to reprice, and you have a $400-something million gain on your swap, and you can use that. So here's the key: is you can go back to that problem in the first exam, that dollar duration gap analysis. You figure out what the dollar duration of your assets is, the dollar duration of your liabilities is. You subtract that. That's your gap. If that number is $4 billion, how much notional do you need? Well, if the duration on your swap, let's do an example. Let's say it's a $3 billion $3 billion liability, you know, you price out your, well, what did we say it actually was? Because I priced it here. It's 1183.73. So that's the value of my liability. I put that into my principal amount. All right. So, and my duration's that. So what's the dollar duration of my liabilities? It's just the value of your liabilities times the duration. Y'all remember that from the exam? And let's say you have, I don't know, $1.2 billion in assets, and 30% of them are in bonds that have a duration of 2.5 years. Then what's the dollar duration of your assets? 900. That looks like a big difference, doesn't it? You get your dollar duration gap. It's $25 billion. The duration of your swap is 22 years. So how much do you need in the swap? You need $1.142 billion in the swap. So it's exactly like you did in an exam. And you'll know if you did it right, because when you start doing your scenarios, it's going to start getting kind of messy. If you did it wrong, you'll have large losses. All right, so everybody with me so far? I'm going to hit